Going live. Test, test. Mic check. Let me know if you can hear me. Are you on it? So you can hear if I'm got sound. Got a 30-second delay. Hey everyone. Oh, I thought that was rust. Whew, that'd be bad. Yep. We're good? What? Let me know, guys, if my sound is okay. My sound is good. Boy, this lathe is dirty. Time for some lathe maintenance. How often do you all service your lathe? And by service, I mean clean the ways, clean the bed, and oil it and lube it and clean everything and make sure your banjo's good and your tailstock's good. How often do you do that? Just curious. And if you don't know the answer, or you're like, then you probably should do it. And I do have a video on this channel, I think. Didn't we do that video with the Laguna? We cleaned up a really rusty Laguna. I kind of let it get real bad so we could clean it up on a video. Richard cleans it all the time. You know what, Richard? I believe you. I do believe you. If you're in the chat, say hello. Let us know who you are, where you're from. It's always fun to see where everyone is. And we will get started here. Yeah, I'm lucky because I've got a helper here in the shop, and he keeps everything real nice and clean and oiled. And so, like, I come in, and the night before I got water all over the lathe, and then he'll, like, clean it up. Sometimes the next morning, not always, but sometimes. So it's kind of it's like a real treat to have somebody do that kind of stuff. But he keeps the CNC going and the laser and all that, so that's important. Lathe, also important. So much more enjoyable when your tailstock moves instead of sticks. Yeah.
We have every couple days, not enough.
Not enough. That's my schedule generally. All right, everybody. Hey, Wiley's from Tempe. That's cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Chad from Turner's Warehouse. You've got Amy on the chat. She's over there. She'll be chatting as Turner's. I think Carrie is listening. Carrie's over in the store, but we have some internet problems, so I'm not sure if she's able to watch because we have two separate internets, and that one went down, so I'm not sure. But either way, if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. They'll either answer them or they'll ask me if it's something related to what we're doing, and we can go from there. And feel free to ask anything turning related, pen related. I mean, you could ask other stuff too, like you could ask like physics questions or outer space questions, but I'll just make up an answer. I don't know the answers to those, but everything else I'll give you a ballpark. An answer in the right ballpark, even if it's not right. So, Amy, what do I need to talk about? What do I need to tell everyone?
We are postponing the spoon thing. We had to postpone it, so we'll let everybody know when that's going to happen.
Yeah, we got a couple things. So, we were supposed to have a live spoon carving live stream tomorrow. Unfortunately, Mike, who's in New Zealand, had to postpone it, so it'll be probably a couple weeks, I would imagine. But it's going to be really cool, and I do want to get on those because I think that's going to be cool. I want to carve on bowls, and I think this is a good start for that. So we will have that coming up in June. There will be a couple weeks with no live streams because we won't be here on a Wednesday. But otherwise, we're going to try to keep it pretty regular. If you're local, if you're in the Phoenix area, on the 25th, right, of May, I'll be over at Unique Wood Supply and Design. Bob over there, who's an awesome resin guy, asked me to come do some turning, so I'm going to go steal a bunch of wood out of his showroom and turn it. So that'll be fun. That's in the West Valley of Phoenix. And then as far as shows, we're going to be at SWAT in August. And I was just talking to Jason. I'm going to try to make it to the MO, I always say it wrong, MOVPTG, I think. It's the Penn Turners gathering in mid-Ohio Valley. I think it's technically in Virginia, but it's like on the border. Jason Rose puts that one. I'm going to try to get there. So I'm not sure in what capacity, if we'll have stuff to sell. Maybe, maybe not. I might just go to do a demo. I didn't even tell you that yet, but could work. So that could be a possibility. I'm trying to pull that one off. SWAT definitely, and then, of course, our live stream. So lots to do.
Thanks to everybody who's been posting pictures in the Facebook group.
Oh, yeah. Amy said, thanks to everybody who's posting pictures in the Turners Team Facebook page. That's a lot of fun. I actually like going in there and looking at it because you guys are making some cool stuff. So that's really cool. And it's a good place to go. If you have questions, we're happy to help, but everyone else seems happy to help too. So if you have questions or comments, it's a great place to chat and see what's going on. All right, we good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started. So today I'm going to turn a flower blank. Now, you probably saw the picture Amy posted earlier of this flower blank. Obviously, I cut it down. These flower blanks, we make these here, and they're kind of unique. I guess they're more like natural, wouldn't you say? Like they're more mellow tones versus the brighter tones. Like Kayla makes some great flower blanks, but they're just a little different looking. We try to do wood on each end, or at least one end as well. But I'm going to make this one for Mother's Day for my mom. And we got some boxes to pick from. And we're going to make a kit that I haven't made before. It's the Notus or Notus, or how do you say it? Notus. It's a Beaufort ink kit. It's a click pen. It looks really cool. It's the Notus. We have them in stock, and it looks like a good quality kit. So I think I'm going to like it. It kind of has a unique look to it, which I tend to gravitate towards versus like everything looks like a Monarch or a Slimline. So when it's a unique look, that's cool too. I debated making a field click because all of our field clicks are back in stock, but my mom, I thought she would like this look better and shape better, even though the field click is a click also. So we're going to make a Beaufort ink Notus. This is tubed and ready to go. The only downside was the tube was short enough I couldn't get wood on each end. So I would have either had to do just flowers the whole way or a little bit of wood and flowers, and I chose a little bit of wood and flowers. So we'll see how it looks. I did paint the tube. Now, you're looking at this. There's purple and green, so you can assume what color I painted it. Amy, what color? There's purple and green.
Purple?
Amy says purple. No, I painted it blue. And the reason is I only had blue paint. So I figured blue paint was better than brass tube showing through. So we'll see if I'm totally off or if it is fine. I think it'll be fine.
What type of paint do you have?
To paint the tube, I use a spray enamel, and I make sure that it dries for at least a good couple hours before I try to glue the tube in, because it will, if the paint is still soft, it'll melt in the with the glue. The glue gets hot and softens everything up. So you don't want to do that. All right. So if anyone is not familiar with Beaufort ink kits, they're really high quality kits. They're from England. And one cool thing is the bushing. So the bushings are all stainless steel. Let me go overhead so you can see. The bushings are all stainless steel. They have these little wear lines, so you know if you've worn your bushings down. It kind of gives you an indicator if those lines start to disappear. But one cool thing is they are mandrel bushings or they are TBC bushings. And what that means is on the end they have a 60-degree angle that can go on a dead center or a live center with a 60-degree angle. So if you're not familiar with TBC, what that means is turn between center. And so instead of putting this on a mandrel, I can put it between a dead center and a live center, and turn it. Now, it's important to note, if you're going to do TBC, you need 60-degree dead center, live center. I'm going to say that a lot throughout this probably. If you have something that's off, not 60 degree, a lot of them are like 40 or 45, I think, it will wear weird on your bushing, and it'll wear weird on your live center, and you'll get lines in it, and it won't be good. You'll have to get rid of it. So don't use it on anything. Don't use regular bushings between centers because it'll wear nasty lines in your dead center and your live center. These match up, so the angles match, and then when you put it all together and put a little pressure, it's all perfectly lined up and even. Now, why would you do this over a mandrel? I think that TBC, when possible, I always do it whenever I have the option. A lot of pen kits, I don't have the option, so I don't, and it's fine. But I think it's a better way to turn. I think it's less chance of a bend or an arc in your mandrel or something wacky with a mandrel. It just takes less stuff out of the equation, which is always better. It's always one tube like this, so I always turn one tube anyway, even on a mandrel. So when I can do it, I do. I don't worry about it though if I can't. I just do it whenever I have that option. So any questions on TBC? There are a variety of things out there. There's TBC bushings like you see here. And like I said, these are both, so that's really cool. You can get these premium bushings without having to do TBC, but you have both options. Penn State makes a little TBC dead center and live center that has little shafts on it, and it works fine. But I will say it works fine, but I don't love the live center on it. I don't think it's super high quality. So, it's a give and take. But it works if you want to do that. I would recommend either just get the setup or don't. Trying all these like middle answer things just kind of is wacky. All right. Okay. All right. I'm on the chat for a minute. Amy has to step next door. So if anything pops up. Oh yeah, Cyclone bushing. So yeah, Cyclone is a Beaufort kit, and those bushings are great. I think they use really good steel on these. They seem like stainless. I don't know if they are, but they're really good regardless. And I consider them premium bushings, so a lot of times I'll use them for like anything for the Sirocco or the Zephyr. I'm trying to think if there's any others. Those are the same as like Monarch, Sierra, Wall Street, so you can use them interchangeably with those. Elegant Monarch, any of those. So it's kind of cool that you can have a little bit of both for that. So let's get going here. We're going to turn this down, and I'm going to turn this with a Easy Wood tool, and I am going to use, it's turning some blue stabilized. I am going to use a negative rake. Negative rake has a little bit of a bevel on the end. It's a little less aggressive. It's a square, but it's radius, so it has a little bit of an arc to it. And I just feel like this is a better, I always use the radius. So even if I'm using not negative rake, I always use the radius. But I figured negative rake was probably good for this combo of wood and resin, especially with the flowers, because there's going to be a lot of pockets of air in here because flowers are just full of air. But I figured the negative rake is the way to go. Shouldn't be a lot of turning, but we are going to have some challenges with the finish, and that should be good to see. All right, see if I got anything here. Hey, press kit, awesome. Yeah, the PSI TBC thing works fine. It's just, if I can do regular, I would do that first. That'd be my choice, but use whatever you got. All right, I'm using the power cap here. I love this part, watch. So see, it's all fogged as soon as I turn it on. Oh, I should probably charge this thing. I haven't charged it since I got it. All right, let's do it. Oh no, I don't think my lathe is set on high speed. All right, well, rookie move. I guess I don't have to take that off, but it seems like it's easier to talk with it off. So this is a region and it has 3 belt positions. So you get 3 different ranges of speed. And right now it's on the middle one, which is a range of 550 to 1650. And that may sound like enough to some of you, but when you're pen turning, oh man, you want to go fast. Like turn your lathe up all the way. I had somebody come in the other day and was having issues with resin blanks. And I asked about speed and it was oh no, it was too low. So I said, turn up your lathe, which he did. And then he came back and said all his problems went away and the speed was the issue. So speed will definitely smooth things out and make it easier. Don't drop your tool down in there. Oh, I almost had it. It's like operation. Oh boy. I really dropped it down there now. Wonder where my magnet is. It's funny because I always have a magnet here just for stuff like that. Oh, you know what? There's a magnet right over here. Sorry, everybody. This is what happens when you don't check your belt before the live stream. All right. This is real life, though. I'm sure no one's ever dropped something down in their lathe, right? So I'm going to use this mandrel. I dropped it way down there, man. Well, that was a dumb move. Now the magnet just stuck to the lathe. What was I thinking? Well, at least I got the magnets out. I guess I can just see if I can reach it. Oh, duh. I didn't think my hand would fit. Anyway, normally it only takes me like 10 seconds to change a belt, but when you drop the wrench in there, it's a little longer. So this will give me a higher range. On this 3 belt, or the 3rd belt position, I can turn up to 4,000. So quite a bit more. All right, round 2. Now I just put in my live center, dead center, so they may have to seat a little bit. So I may have to tighten them up a couple times. And that's quite all right. So I'm just using the corner of the tool to take off the rough edges. And let's see how this one looks. Try to get you guys in here a little bit. There we go. So this is kind of a cool, you got the purple flowers and then all the green, like little seedy looking flowers. And then that's the wood there. So I think this will look cool. Oh, you know, one thing I didn't look to see is if the Notus or Notus, okay, they're the same size on each end. So I don't have to worry about a tapered blank. And not so much that, but I want to make sure, like, if this was tapered, I would maybe want the wood on one end or the other. But since it's even, it doesn't matter. And I'm not going to, I'm going to make it fairly straight anyway. Amy, you missed me dropping the wrench into the lathe and having to get a magnet and try to fish it all out. It probably wasn't entertaining, but it was realistic. Well, I changed the belt and then I dropped the Allen wrench down in. It happens. All right, let's turn this thing. What's that? Whoa, that's a good offer. I love that Round Town guy. He's cool. We need to get that Mike in here to do a demo on segmenting. I'll stop this a couple times in the middle here so you all can see how it's looking. As fast as it'll go. 3,800, I think. Okay, so this is going to be CA finished. Now, oh, that's looking cool. I was afraid I might turn away all that purple, but I guess not. It's looking kind of neat. So if you watched, was that a video or a live stream? No, that was a video, the pen finish. If you watch the perfect pen finish video the other day, I talk about using the Mylan's friction finish along with the sanding sealer and stuff. That's my preferred thing on wood. Now that doesn't mean I don't do CA. I do CA quite a bit because people ask for it. But on wood, I like that finish because it feels like wood. This one being a hybrid, wood and resin, along with the flowers, it really needs to be CA because I'm going to have to fill some of the little flower voids, and I don't want to feel a line between the wood and the resin. So this needs to be CA, so that's what it's going to get. But in some cases, you may not want it for that reason. But it's your choice, so do whatever you want. There were questions on that video about durability. I saw people say yay or nay as far as durability of friction finish. If you do the finish like I showed you in that video, it'll last a long time. I've had pens personally and on our showroom floor for a long time that still look great. So I don't know how everyone is applying their stuff, but that video showed you how I do it. All right, I wonder if I should leave it a little fatter in the middle just because like sometimes older hands like a little more rather than tighter. What do you think? I think this will look pretty cool. All right, now we're gonna see if my blue paint was a mistake. I mean, it looks kind of blue, but it doesn't look bad. And that looks just clear. I don't know, I think it's okay. Well, I think I'm gonna leave it that size. Now, here's where this is, man, I should stop talking about it, but this thing is so nice on the face. It's like an air conditioner. And I love some air conditioner. So just so you guys know, it's already hot here. It's like 100 degrees, and this shop gets really hot without the swamp cooler on. So I had the swamp cooler running right up till we started the live stream, and I turned it off. So it gets real stale in here real fast. But that thing's like an air conditioner. Whew. Okay, here's some important stuff. So we're going to finish this now, right? But before I even do any sanding, I'm going to put some CA on it, right? Makes sense. Before I even sand. Now the reason is, I'm going to grab some safety glasses. I don't want to go fast for this. And actually I could probably just do it by hand, but it'll be easier to show. So the reason I'm going to put the CA on this is two things. If I start sanding, I'm going to drag wood into the flower little bits because the flower is an organic material and it's soft. And I don't want to mix either the flower into the wood or vice versa. So by putting a thin CA on, I'm going to kind of seal all that. And then I can carefully sand, and then we can proceed with our CA finish and all that. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I'm using BSI glue. Whoops. BSI. This is my preferred glue. I used to use a lot of mercury, but I sure love BSI. So I'm not even worried if it's laying down. This stuff dries really fast. I just want to make sure it's on there. So once it's on there, I mean, I could let it sit, but it's pretty much cured anyway. I'm going to hit it with a little accelerator just to cover it. And now I can sand. So here's what I'm going to do. Oh man, it already looks cool. Look at this. This is going to look real good when we're done. That's without any finish.
That's a cool flame.
Hey, the blue actually looks kind of, well, it looks weird, but cool. Okay. I mean, I was, thinking outside the box. Blue paint. Okay. Put the bushings back in the bottle. Somebody was telling me the other day they cut the top off because they couldn't open it, and all you got to do, squeeze it. He said he learned after the first one, but all our bushings come in these. Okay. Now I'm going to put it just between centers. And the reason being is I don't have a set of finished bushings on me, and this will work just fine. But what you'll see is, let's get a little closer. Get a little closer. It leaves my ends exposed to where I can get to the ends to sand. And I don't have to worry about sanding metal into my wood. Because if I sanded on the bushings and I went over like this, which we all do, as careful as we can be, we'll still touch the bushing. Especially with light wood like this, you're going to drag little bits of gray and black into your wood. And if you've ever done that and wondered what was in your wood, it's metal. And the metal, steel sands black, so it'll get in there. Now by doing this, I can sand and I can go up to it, but you see I'm going off the edge and I'm not hitting the metal. Oh, I got to tighten that. So I'm just going to sand this by hand. And I could actually turn on the lathe. I want to keep it fairly slow. And I can kind of give it a quickie. This is 600 grit. I meant to use 800, but this is what was laying here. Oh, I've got one, Rick. I've got a bushing rack, and I made some a while back, but I need to make some more because it's been years since I made them. Now this is going to feel a little bit off. It's going to feel a little rough, and that's totally normal because I just sloppily put CA on here, as everyone saw. But all I'm trying to do now is kind of flatten it out and take out any big imperfections from turning, right? So I'm not worried about the CA because I'm probably going to sand most of the surface off, but I don't want any of like my lines from my tool or anything like that. Hopefully I don't have any or many, but this is a good way to just verify it. So I'm switching paper. That's what when I walk away, that's what it is. I'm going to use several little squares of 600 and 800. I just switched to 800 because I'm trying to get these all flat here. So I don't want to use the same piece and just load it up. Can you hear that noise on the mic or no? They're unloading a car behind our building and it's really loud. So I'm just hand sanding. So that's my third piece of 800, and I should be good probably after this one. So I'm just looking to make sure everything's lines are even. There's no circular marks from my tool or my sandpaper, and it's all going to look fine. Now I'm going to turn it on and just touch the ends on the inside here to make sure that there's nothing hanging off or wacky. But it looks good. So that looks pretty good. There's one little line there. Let's get that out of there. And I would say be really critical of yourself. Look, with magnifiers or something and make sure that it's clean. We tend to go a little faster here on the live stream, but look at it in depth and make sure it looks good. Now I'm going to take a little lacquer thinner. Yeah, it's funny because you might spend, 2 minutes turning this, and then you might spend 20 minutes doing the finish, but that's where it all comes together. That's the best part. So I'm just cleaning this, getting any dust off of it. Obviously, I didn't clean the lathe after we turned, but that's okay. So we're just making sure it's clean. Now, I want to make sure it's dry. Luckily, this stuff flashes off really quick, so by the time I'm set up here, it'll be good to go. All right, so we're going to apply the CA finish now. So you can use a variety of things. You can use whatever brand you like. I like BSI. You can use aerosol or spritzer accelerator. I like aerosol because it's a finer mist and it like coats quick and even, whereas these are more like bigger drops and like stuff. So whatever works. It was funny when Jim Godoy was here for demo day, he liked the spritzer better. That's why there's one in here. But use whatever you've got or whatever you like. Works fine. Now I just take a paper towel and yes.
Would rubbing alcohol work in place of the lacquer thinner for cleaning?
Would rubbing alcohol work in place of lacquer thinner for cleaning? I think so. I've never done it, but I think so because alcohol like flashes off. Just make sure, if you're not sure if it's like fast drying or flashing, just give it time. Like let it sit for 10 minutes, it'll be fine, or set it in the sun, it'll be fine. But I mean, it shouldn't obviously feel wet or anything. If you have lacquer thinner or some solvent on your piece and then you put CA on it, it probably won't work out well. So you don't want to do that necessarily. All right, let's do glasses. Okay, let's look at this. So I've got this spinning. See, this is pretty fast. I don't want to switch the belt because I'll embarrass myself. This is fine though. We're going 1,000. So I'm going to use flex, medium flex. This is BSI. Boy, I'm really zoomed in there. Now I'm going to do this real specific. Let me show you how I'm going to do it. So CA finish, if you're new to it, it's going to seem like it's the hardest thing ever. If you've been doing it a while, you're like, yeah, it's no big deal. It's easy. It just takes practice. Most of the time, what I see people do is a couple of key things. They either wipe it on and wipe it all off, or they wipe it on and then they sand through it, like just literally sand it all away. So either one of those is going to not work out great. But let's watch this. So we're going to put a line here. Just want to put a line down the paper towel. Boy, I got to be careful of this zoom. And then I'm going to put the end of the glue, this end, in first. And I'm going to come across, and I'm going to turn my line of glue into the piece as I go across. So I'm kind of going like this and then turning it in. And that way I get a coating all the way across. Now, if for some reason I didn't, I could always put a little more on that end, or I could start on this end next time. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Well, first I'm going to let this spin. And in between coats, you want to hit it. Now I'm using medium. If you're using thin, that's fine, but you'd have to do more coats. With medium, I generally do 4 or 5 coats. Don't do 15 or 20 of anything. That's just not necessary. And if it's not working or it is working at that, like it's probably just overkill. You just don't need to. So put it on, spray it. And that was probably a little heavy spray. You don't need that much. And you definitely don't want all this dust here, but we're good. All right, so we sprayed. We're going to put another line on, and I've just switched paper towels to a new one. I can usually put 2 lines on. All right. And every now and then I'll kind of stick it on the ends here, and I'm holding it real tight, and I'm just trying to collect any glue if it went over the edge. And then I'm going to spray it. And then I'll do, I think this is 4, so this will be good. Now, see that yellow? It's because there was a little bit of accelerator still on there. All right, so I'm going to spray it. And then I'm going to let it spin for a second. We're going to look at it. Now, because this is flowers, and it would be the same with like little pine cones or any organic element, coffee beans, you'll have a million little holes you got to fill. What I want to do before I sand and do anything is I want to really look at this in detail. Now, I was applying, gosh, this looks cool. I was applying the CA in a fashion that if I had any voids, hopefully I would push the CA into it. But once I think that this is dry, which it is, I can kind of feel, and I'm better feeling for the voids than seeing them because my eyes aren't super spectacular. But I don't feel anything, and I don't see anything. I am looking. And actually, I can look in the reflection of the light, because if there's a hole, the light will go away. So it looks pretty clean. Boy, that blue was a weird choice. I should have sprayed the inside of the tube, too. The inside of the blank. So I don't see anything, so I think I'm okay. Now, what I would do if I had a spot, I would really carefully fill it in with the flex, and that way when I sand it, it would all be even. You could go through first and fill holes, if you're wondering that, but chances are if you apply the CA in like a thick manner like I did, pushing that line across, I'm kind of like rolling the blank into the puddle of CA, I should be filling those holes. So I don't do it first because generally I can fill any problems just by doing the CA finish. And I also don't feel the transition between the wood or the resin. So this looks pretty good. And now we can sand. So what I like is, do you have a question? Oh, sorry. What I like is to have like, I always call it the orange peel. It kind of feels like the surface of an orange peel, like a little rough, but not rough. But I can see all the rotary marks from my paper towel from the lathe spinning. So I'm going to sand those out. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn this on, and I'm going to grab some 800. This time I'm going to make sure it's 800 because I don't want to sand my CA off. The worst thing you can do is sand with something aggressive here because 220, your CA will be gone in 5 seconds, maybe less. So I'm going to use 800, but I'm going to be real gentle. I'm going to make sure it's wet. And I'm just going to kind of go over it, and I chase it on the backside with my thumb because I'm trying to feel if there's any little bumps or imperfections that I should sand on. But see, I'm pushing on it, but not hard. I'm not giving it a lot of pressure. I'm just giving it enough to do the job. And I am going to sand on these ends to make sure I don't have any CA buildup, but make sure you don't round them over. We still want nice crisp edges, but we don't want to round them over. So I'm just putting a little bit of pressure. And see that white on the paper towel, or on the, not the paper towel, the sandpaper? That's CA, that's the resin coming off, the plastic. All right, let's see what we got here. So what I want to look for is I'm looking for any lines in my finish. And I can see some all over. So what I'm going to do is hand sand this with the length of the lathe. And there are some down here. I don't know if this is a better view. There are some down here, probably from just being on the end where I started and stopped. But I can hand sand them out really quickly. So you don't always have to run the lathe to sand everything. Sometimes you can do a much better job just doing it by hand with the lathe off. So I'm just going to rotate it and keep a lookout for any of those rotary marks from the sandpaper or the paper towel.
That blank is really cool, even though it's blue.
Yeah, the blue and the green, you know, they work together. They're fine. All right. So a lot of times when it's wet, it's hard to see because it just looks pretty good. So if you dry it either with a towel or your hand, you can see now There's some shiny lines here. Does anyone see that? I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Those will come out with the Zona paper. But if I was worried about them, I'd definitely hand sand them out. But that's good because that's in my CA. So that tells me I haven't sanded my CA all off, which I don't want to. Let's do this end a little bit. And you can see now we've spent more time on the finish than we did on the turning. The turning is the easy part. It's doing a good finish that makes it tough.
We've got a comment from John. Some great tips for beginners.
Oh, good. Glad you like it, John. All right, so that's pretty smooth. I don't see or feel anything. I'm going to rotate it one more time. I'm looking for any little voids in the flour, because the flowers are just little pockets of mush and air. So, okay, looks good to me. So we're going to move on. We're going to go to the Zona paper. If you've watched before, sorry, you've heard about Zona. It's what I use to finish pretty much everything. Zona paper is sandpaper, but it's polished paper, really. It's 6 pages, 6 pieces, which is what I like. Micromesh is what I used to use. It was 9, so this is 3 less steps. It goes from like 600 to 22,000. So take a good look at this now, right? And then in just a minute, we'll see how it looks with the Zona. So I am going to be very careful on these first 2 grits. Let me go from below so you guys can at least see something. Because I don't want to take off a lot with this first grit or the second grit. Because I could remove some of my CA if I'm not careful. So I want to keep it wet. I want to keep it moving. Make sure I get the whole thing. Feels good. If I felt any little imperfections, I could stop and fix them if I needed to. But these blanks are kind of tricky because they can take a little more time just because of that. But otherwise, it's a standard CA finish. And this one we didn't do any filling, so it was real standard. All right. So this is the second pad, the black. And I'm going to move pretty quickly through that one. And now I can start to slow down and get more of my polish on versus getting my sand on. What are you guys doing for your mom for Mother's Day? This is what I got. We're going to see my mom and give her this. Anybody got good plans? We just saw my mom last weekend, so that was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
2 weekends in a row. We don't see a lot of people all the time because we're so busy with the store. All right, so this is the pink. There's 2 more after this one. So I'm going to kind of just wrap this around. I want to make sure I keep it wet. I don't want to go so fast that I burn it up or melt the CA, because CA can be ruined with heat. So by keeping the paper wet, I'm keeping the heat down. I get a better finish. And the best part is I don't have dust in the air. So that's why I'm not having to wear a respirator or anything, because all the dust is in the water. So this purple one, or pink one's feeling pretty good. We'll switch it over. Oh, way to ruin it for all of us, Rick, by oversending gifts. I hope your mom doesn't talk to my mom.
Wind chimes are the best.
I'm just kidding. We need to go up there and see Rick, because it's going to be nice and cool up there, and it's going to be hot down here. He knows where the good fishing is, too. All right. Good stuff. We got 1 left. And this is like super easy to do. It's just a little time. But man, it makes this stuff look good. This is where everyone gets excited. When you start sanding on YouTube, people are like, yes, finally some sanding. Couldn't you just like paint something and let us watch it dry? I'm just kidding. It's not that bad, I guess. All right. I think,
Do something different sometime.
yes. Like paint something?
No, like use stadium or
Oh, yeah, we could do that. We could use magic juice next time. Yeah, good thought. Okay, so I'm going to dry this, but what I'm not going to do is like spin it with a towel. I'm going to just dab it. Boop, 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 boop. Dab the water off. Because if I just rubbed it on there, this is way more abrasive than what I just did. But let's take a look here. I'd say this is pretty good. Let's see if I can see any flaws. Seeing if I got any missed opportunities here. It's hard because sometimes you think it's blurry, but it's the rose petal or the flower petal. Looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. Now, one thing you want to look at are the ends. Whenever you do a CA finish, make sure that your ends don't have CA sticking out, little shards or little like walls of CA. If you have that and you press your pen together, you're going to crack your CA or you're going to like shove it up and it'll look terrible. The rest will be all nice and then the ends will be all weird and wicked. So if you're concerned about that, you can take some high grit and put it on your bench so it's flat, and you can just spin it right there. And just make sure that there's no CA. This one's good. Now, if you cut onto or go onto the edge and round it, it's going to look white and hazy. So you're going to have to repolish it. So see, there's hardly anything on my paper. So I think I did a pretty good job at keeping the CA off of there, or at least sanding it once it was on there. So I think we're okay. Now, I'll let you guys pick. I got a gunmetal and I've got a black chrome kit. I pulled both. What do you guys think for this blank? Gunmetal or black chrome? I mean, they're both very dark. The gunmetal is a little lighter. It's more of like a gray metal, where the black chrome is like just flat black. So I need help with that. Pick the gunmetal or the black chrome, and then what box. This is like the brown leather. I kind of like that one for Ma, or this is the black leatherette. I think leatherette means fake leather. What do you think, black or brown box, gunmetal or black chrome pen kit? Anybody have an opinion? Black chrome, for real?
yeah, people are saying black chrome.
Okay, I never would have guessed. Anyone else?
Are those the only two boxes you got?
Yeah, I just brought two, brown and black. Well, the black kit with the black box might look cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's try this. First time assembling a Notus, or Notus. I gotta make it sound fancier, right? A Notus. So I like to take all my parts out. We'll stick the spring on the refill so I don't lose it. You know, and be careful with your parts. Like I set the bag here to set them on. Be careful with your blank. Don't set it on a dirty, rusty table sideways, you know. You don't want to do all that work and then have little bits mess you up. So take care of stuff. All right, how does this thing assemble? I guess it just... Anyone done one of these yet? They're fairly new, but we've been selling them for a couple weeks.
Did you open one?
Yeah,
Oh, which one did you open?
the black.
Okay. So next time we gotta give people more time.
Oh, now is it gunmetal?
I don't know. I started a poll on the box.
Oh, that's cool.
And people are overwhelmingly liking the black box.
I think the black box with this black kit would be cool.
But we do have some people who voted gunmetal.
Now, I guess the other question... that looks pretty cool. The other question is, what direction would you put the wood? What do you guys think of that? Wood at the tip? Although that looks good too. I kind of like that better. Wood at the tip or wood at the clip end? I think wood at the tip end looked better, didn't it? I know, I got to wait because there's such a delay. I think that is the look.
Is the tip in your left hand?
This is the tip here.
I think wood at the clip.
Amy says wood at the clip. clip end.
Nope. What did the tip? What did the
All right, it'll just be on the tip. Now, it would look cool if I had wood on each end, but like I said, this blank was too much in the middle for me to do both. But that wood came out really good too in the CA. All right, so.
It's gotta make it sound fancy like
Joe Dirt, yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do, I think because there's a little arc to this wood, I'm going to put the clip in the center of the arc rather than like over the purple flower. I think that'll look good. It's in the green. Now, I don't have anything to go over that. I'm assuming.
You can do little poles on here.
Yeah. So I'm assuming I can press against this. I guess if I'm wrong, we're going to find out. I should have looked at the instructions ahead of time. All right, so we're going to put this on. We're going to put this. I'm using the Milescraft press. If you had looked for a Milescraft press, we were out of stock for a little bit, but they are back in stock, and they are my favorite press. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to put the tip in. Now, normally I wouldn't push against the threads, but these look pretty robust. So I'm going to just carefully push against the threads. All right, hopefully I didn't mess anything up. I think that was the right choice with the wood at the front. That looks really cool. What?
People are like instructions. Wait, the kids have instructions?
Who needs instructions, man? All right, there it is. Oh, that's pretty smooth. And I think it looks good. Like, I think the wood lends to like going into the all that black. It's kind of a long kit.
No, bring it over to the other camera.
Now, I think this is what I'm going to do, like, for the presentation. That looks pretty good, right? The gift box can always make it look better. Yeah. I think that's the way to go.
Bring it to the other camera.
Bring it to the other camera.
Maybe the overhead.
Oh, yeah. Well, the overhead's really zoomed in. Okay. So that's the box I'm going to do, the black with the black kit. Look at that thing. That looks pretty cool. I think the wood is the right direction. And it feels pretty comfortable. It's got like lines here for grip. So it feels like a pretty good pen. And it's real smooth. I mean, the Tempest is really nice. The Tempest is their other click pen from Beaufort, and it's really good, really durable. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be just as good or better. But it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that turned out nice.
What you guys think? Did we do it all right here? Do justice? I think that's a pretty cool thing, and I think giving your mom flowers or giving someone flowers this way is kind of cool because then you don't have to ever throw them out. I guess you could throw it out if you want. It'd be more awkward than throwing out dead flowers. But I think this is a good way to go, giving somebody flowers. We have a bunch of flower blanks that we've made. There's handles and bottle stoppers and pen blanks and whatever. But if you're looking for a click pen, give this Notus a try. It looks really cool. And it's kind of odd, which I dig.
You know what kind of wood was on that hybrid?
Yes, I do. This was walnut. It was walnut with sapwood, so it's like white and brown. And it was cut kind of like the live edge was on there. So it's not a straight cut, but it's fairly straight looking. But it just looked like a scoop. So, but pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it. And, you know, fairly quick project to make a really nice gift. And if you're doing craft shows, I think these would do well, don't you?
Yeah.
Like people can buy
Make really nice seam rippers.
seam rippers or keychains. Yeah. I did a coffee scoop with a flower blanket. It looks really cool. But yeah, there we go. Any other questions I need to answer?
John says, would you ever combine wood with mini pine
Would I ever combine wood and mini pine cones? Sure. I don't know that I have, but there wouldn't be any reason not to. It would look cool. It'd be cool too if you could like use wood from that tree and the pine cones from the same tree. That'd be kind of a cool thing. I don't know if that's possible. Most pine cones are pine, but you could.
Alan says, is the click mechanism replaceable with the Schmidt SKM88?
Is this replaceable with an SKM88? No, it's its own thing. There's so many with that click mechanism that you would want to just get one of those. Like, yeah, there's the Coyote, the Liberty, the Pratchett, the EDC. I know I'm missing a few. There's others. But yeah, this is obviously going to be less expensive because that click mechanism alone is like $5 or $6. So that would make the cost of the kit way up there. But it feels good. And it's not like, so a lot of these clicks from that are plastic inside, they feel flimsy. Like if you do a slimline click, I mean, you're gambling every time you click it, it feels like. But this one feels robust. This is kind of like how the field click feels more like stout inside. So, I mean, could it break? Sure, anything could, but I think with regular use, you'll be just fine. And it's good looking. But, all right, well, that's all I got today. That was an easy one. Good gift. Good craft show item if you're doing craft shows for sure.
John says, how about doing a cigar case next?
Cigar case. Yeah, I'll look into that. I have not done a cigar case. I did them years ago, but I haven't made one in probably 5 or 6 years at least. So maybe we'll do that. I'll see about that, John. That could be cool. I'll have to get some cigars to put in it, I guess. All right. Well, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends if they're turners, or even if they're not. If you want to torture them, just share it. But we'll be here next week at 3 o'clock. And we will let you know about the spoon demo when that gets rescheduled, and that's going to be pretty cool. All right. Anything else, Amy? What'd I miss? Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Like legit mothers. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, mother. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.